What's happening, Shredder Nation? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of Living the Shredder Life. This is episode number 83. I am your host, Jesse James Jamnik. I am one of two ERShred ambassadors. My job, my focus is on the nutritional side of things. My training is in nutrition and now functional nutrition, and health coaching, health and wellness coaching. And my goal every single week is just to bring you another amazing story from another tribe member, somebody who's in our community, who's living the shredder life. This particular person I've now known for, Rachel, I think we've known each other for at least 5 years. At least
Absolutely.
5 years. I think it must be 7 because I think I met you right at the beginning of my little journey. And then we've kind of, touched base and stuff like that. But my guest tonight, guys, I'm really, really excited. I know I say that every week, but I'm so excited to talk to people. I'm like this little kid that just wants to hear these stories and hear people's journeys. But Rachel and I have so much in common in our past because we've both taken the bodybuilding approach. We've both been involved in health and wellness and nutrition and fitness. Rachel was just sharing with me that she's been doing this for about 17 years now. Mine, I think when I figured out it's like 20 when I started, a little over 20, from all the time. And that's not like professionally, but that's like starting to learn, reading the muscle magazines, like getting in the gym, messing it all up, right, Rach? I know. I see you laughing.
You're making us old. Stop.
I know. We're so old, but we're not old because if they tested the inside of our bodies, our biological age, who gives a crap what our physical age is, right? Like as long as my body's performing like I'm 26, I could care less if I'm 42 years old. So, but I'm super excited to have you, Rach. I know your life is super busy with kids and family and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate your time. I value you, and welcome to the show. I'm really excited we got to connect finally.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we went through some hoops to get here, right? Between our schedules, and I'm super, super grateful. My heart is full. I was sharing with you a little bit, Rach. I think we're going to bring some massive value because I feel that there's so many people. I mean, there's millions of people. Like, it's not even like an exaggeration of the truth. Like, it's a reality. There's millions of people struggling today, especially with this, pandemic and crazy crap that we've been through the last couple of years. Now, not only do we have physical problems, we have so many more mental problems. And again, you and I are not trained in that, so we're not going to go there, but it's just the reality of what is. Now, with that being said, I'm a believer that if we start with our health first, because I believe that our health is our greatest wealth, and I think you share that vision. I believe that can be the catapult for people to realize just how epically awesome they are. True? Would you agree with that statement? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah. So for you, Rachel, I would love to share with people that, and I don't know fully your story. So I told you I was so excited about this. So if we could start back a little bit, if that's okay with you, take me back to the beginning. I mean, you've been doing this for 17 years now, in some way, shape, or form. I guess what started you on this journey of health and wellness? Like, what's the story? There's always a good story that gets somebody started and gets them into it because you got to high levels, and we'll get to that in a second. But you crushed it,
Well, now we have to add another 10 years if we're going back that far. But
Okay, whatever you want to do, let's do it.
yeah, when I was 15, 16 years old, I remember sitting on the couch watching ESPN and watching the Fitness America pageants and watching the girls do fitness competitions and jump all over a stage and do gymnastics. And then they would get out and pose. And I was like, man, that's so cool. I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And, I didn't do I did some athletics in high school and middle school, but I wasn't a huge athlete back then. And, went off to Penn State and lived a great life at, a major university and graduated from school. And believe it or not, it was one of my first jobs. I was out cold calling. And I walked into a rejuvenation center and somehow got into a conversation with former professional bodybuilders about how I had this dream to get on stage and to compete. And, they offered to be my trainer, do my nutrition, put me together on supplements, and get me on stage in 12 weeks if I would be there before and after.
Wow.
And I was like,
okay.
yes. Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
That works for me. So I got on stage for the very first time right before I turned 26 and placed in the top 5 on my very first show at a national level, national qualifying show.
That's incredible.
And, it was awesome. And I remember the person helping me, learn posing said, you're either going to do it once and be done, or you're going to do it again and again and again and again. She's like, there is no in between. And she was right.
So true.
Yeah.
And you obviously chose the again and again and again and again. It's like an addiction, right? It's an addiction. It is an addiction. It's such an addiction. I was going to say it's healthy, but it can also be unhealthy, right? Rach? Like the thing. Yeah. And I want to talk about that too. But before we dive into that, I'm curious, my story started not 16, 17, I think more 18, 19 is really when the Jim and Jesse went on a blind date and fell in love. Yeah, it was a really sexy date. It was so funny. God, it was so bad. I was this little, I was a fat kid growing up, made fun of, and here I am like, I'm going to be the guy in the magazine. Like, that's it, totally wrong reason to do health, but that's what it was. I needed to, prove everybody wrong. And when they saw me again, like, I'll show you. I had that I'll show you mentality. I highly recommend you guys don't do anything in your life for that mentality, because it is the devil in disguise. Let me just put it that way. But what, besides seeing, now for people, first of all, for people that don't know the difference between a fitness competition and say bodybuilding on stage, when you speak on stage, the average mind's going to go, oh, it's bodybuilding. No. Can you explain the extreme difference of fitness competition first?
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, just the amount of effort your body goes through, the pounding that your body takes. I mean, it's incredible. And it's so thrilling, but it's hard. It's hard work. But it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's so cool to like watch your body transform and see what the human body is capable.
Yeah, for sure. Did you hear me, or did we lag out?
Yeah, we lagged out for a second.
Okay, so what I heard everything you said, but what I was saying was, I was like, you guys are like gymnasts. I mean, the tumbling, the flipping, flipping around, catching yourself in push-ups. And I mean, I just don't, if you don't know what this competition is, like, do yourself a favor, Google a fitness competition performance. Not my good friend, but a friend that I know, Stacy Vallegro, she was a national champion multiple times over. And man, watching her, the strength that you guys have, the core, the functionality, the functional fitness. I mean, it's a whole different level of not just bodybuilding. Like, it's the physique, but it's the athleticism that mesmerizes me. So is that what got you, or did you have something from your childhood that you were chasing down?
No, I was a gymnast, for a few years when I was a kid. So like there was that aspect of the tumbling and the one-arm push-ups and the, just the various strength holds. Like that just was so intriguing to me that you could do these things. And especially as a female, because I think, again, if you've never seen it and you don't know what it's all about, you think only men do these things. So when you can see a woman do those things, it's like crazy.
Yeah. Listen, I'm you know me very well. We're friends enough, but I think that is the sexiest thing in the world. I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, it's what, like, my wife, she's extreme fitness, like runs ultra marathons with me. Like, when we're working out together, I get distracted sometimes. Not because I'm not just attracted to her. Obviously, it's been a long time, but I'm just like, damn, like, wow. And it's just so cool. So I really admire the shit out of you for diving into that. And I hope people go and look at it just to understand. I wanted to highlight that, Rachel, because I want people what we're going to dive into next with nutrition and your experience and the journeys. I just want them to know that you're just not this like kid off the block that's tried this 11-day protocol. You had some great success and like, yay, you know what I mean? Like, I get that too, but like, you know your stuff and you've been around enough. Not only that, your husband deals with elite athletes and you guys are surrounded with this. I mean, it's literally like all your life, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's at the combine. He's at that level, right? Like, you know, so I mean, you guys know what's going on. So with that being said, I feel like there's a lot of people struggling with finding passion. And you know, you went and did something, and I did this thing the other day, and I was wondering if you could comment on it. But I'm into this new thing by Ed Milet. It's called The Power of One More, and it's this whole mentality of like, listen, like I get we got these big goals, right? I get we got these big goals, but we gotta break it down. We gotta set it and forget it, and then we just gotta do one more thing that's gonna get us closer. And those accomplishments of one more are there. So with your passion and your consistency throughout the years, and again, there's been times of life and kids and all that, but not counting that, but your dedication and consistency, what's been the key thing for you to keep lighting that fire? What can we drop for somebody that they can maybe tap into if they're struggling with that to kind of get this kick started?
Oh, yay. That was an unexpected question.
I know, but I'm going to dive and make you think if that's okay.
You know,
I just want to pull value. I want to pull tips, you know, I mean, you've been in this
Yeah.
for a long time. So people that struggle, I feel like, you know, I can pull a lot out of you. So if that's okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, no, you know, for me, one of the biggest things, you know, people think they look at me and they think, well, you don't ever cheat, or, you know, you eat like this 110% of the time. And so my just one more has always been, you know, if I can eat clean 95% of the day, then come Saturday, I can have a cheat meal, or, you know, and be more indulgent. And so for me, it was like Saturday worked. So I could get through Monday. Okay, I got one more day closer. Tuesday, I'm one day closer. And it would just keep me in that momentum to allow myself
Yes.
the freedom to enjoy myself with family and friends on a Saturday.
I love that. I love that word, freedom. People are going to scorn me since we're in ERShred land if I don't correct you with using the word cheat. We don't cheat because cheat's bad. Cheat's a bad thing, but we do treat ourselves, don't we? We do sure treat ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that word freedom is so big, Rach, you know, and, you know, I'm sure that there's been times, you know, when you first got that itch and you got started, I remember I went like a freaking madman, right? Like it was like all or nothing. I had no one. What do you mean one? I can do 10. I can do 10, right? Were you like that too? I mean, you say this now, but was it always like that for you, or?
Yeah, no, it was. It was. But yeah, I mean, but you know, it's interesting because I look back on it now because again, it's been so long. And like when I coach people, I go back to day one, you know, not only day one with isogenics or day one with the shred lifestyle, but I go back to day one. Like when I first started training and competing and like relate to eating that other food, you know, and I empathize with people and break it down again, just very specific, like just do this, this, and this today. And get this portion, you know, done. And then tomorrow's another day.
Yes. Freedom, one day at a time, couple things at a time, one thing at a time. It's crazy. I just posted this thing. Like there's statistically proven that if you focus on one thing at a time and change one thing only, you have an 85% chance of success at accomplishing that one thing. But check this out, Rach. If you add one more thing on top of that additional thing you're focusing on, your success ratio drops to 40%.
That's crazy.
That is more than half, right? And here's what gets even crazier. If you try to do 3 things at one time, your ratio goes to 4%.
Yeah, I believe it.
So even if you're but Jesse and Rachel, I have 100 pounds to lose. Jesse and Rachel, I fill in the blank. It is in your best interest. What Rachel is saying to you from 17 years of experience, and she's played both sides. Focus on one day at a time, one thing, and don't forget this is not prison. This is freedom.
Yes.
Does that sum it up pretty good?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect. I mean, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So let's dive into a couple things. People, it's funny, people always, it's funny you brought up that people think that you never treat yourself. People think that you never go out to dinner with your family. People think you never go have a girls' night, all because you've learned how to maintain your body in complete balance. And I mean, it's funny, like I know this from a science standpoint, but when you treat yourself, your body is processing what you're putting in so radically different than the person that's poisoned and punished themselves for so long. That's the ultimate flexibility, right? That's ultimate. Well, I hope that everybody can get there, and that metabolic flexibility where they can really just process life, and you don't have to be a slave to food. You don't have to go around, but share with people, if you will, go back to competition. What are some things that you did that you thought were the right thing, whether like myths about nutrition, right? What are some things that you thought were the right thing, the things that you did where now that you know what you know, if you look back, you would go, wow, I'm surprised I'm not dead. Because I got a lot of those.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, one of my first experiences with those professional bodybuilders was they wanted to put me on steroids, like legit. And again, I mean, I was young, I wasn't, that overweight, but they were just convinced that that was the way to go. And I was like, no, we're doing this the all natural way. The crazy carb cycling and like, just, God, the way you used to trick yourself with artificial sweeteners and eating Jell-O because you had a sweet tooth, like, and the way people binge, like after a show, like I only, had that issue maybe the first year. I would gain, 10 pounds in between shows, but there are women that can gain 10 pounds in a week or in 4 days after a show and put on 20 pounds in between shows and then have to take it back off and do cardio for hours and hours. Like literally, I once had a trainer that I would do 2 hours of cardio a day and an hour and a half of lifting a day. And then I ended up with injury after injury, like just the overtraining and sleep deprivation and the what it does to your hormones. And like, I've done almost it all. It's crazy. I just recently learned that, a lot of the professionals are out there doing insulin to it's like, what they do, what? It's crazy what people do to their bodies. And I'm like, this is so easy. I can't believe anybody did any of that stuff.
Yeah. I'm so thankful that you brought this up. If I could just add a little bit to this, the reason I'm thankful is because I believe that the average person that's not in this space, I mean, when you're talking like the levels that you're at, when I go to an ultra marathon, everybody there is in that space. But that everybody there is only like 200 people, if that. Okay. So, and like the family that's like forced to go and sit for hours and chair and see you one time and all that. Like most people don't know what's going on. All they see is this persona and this vision of, oh, that girl is ripped. That dude is ripped. They must be really healthy. They must be like, oh gosh, I wish I could be like that. And I fell into that. And God, do I hate the nutrition and fitness industry for this? Like, I despise them now because of the trickery. And, we can get our bodies to look a certain way, can't we, Rachel? We can get our bodies to look a certain way and not be healthy at all.
Yep. That's
That's what
exactly why I got. That's exactly why I
yeah.
got my first nutrition certification, was because I looked great and I felt awful. And I was
Oh
like,
my
there is
God.
something wrong here. There's
Yeah.
physically something wrong. Like this, what I'm listening to is not the right advice. There's got to be a different way to do this. And
Yeah.
when I got my first nutrition certification, it blew the doors off what I'd been doing in my body for 3 years prior.
Yeah. What did you think when you started to really learn how the body worked, the processes, the systems that all played into each other? What was your feeling?
You know, I felt like it was simple, but I felt like it was complicated too. And
Yeah.
so it was, you know, again, it's like, because like you said, the fitness industry, it's a lot of trickery. And, you know, it's like it was so scientific and so easy, yet here were other people doing all these other tricks to make it. And it just was like, why do we have to complicate it? And why do we have to put this like smoke and mirrors over it all and create, you know, I mean, there's so many people that have eating disorders and body dysmorphia and all this stuff because of the unhealthy ways they do it to get there. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. So it
Yeah.
was very frustrating.
Yeah.
And that's why I became so passionate. That's why I really left training to do nutrition, was because like
Oh,
that's what drives it all, is what we put into
yes.
our bodies.
Yes. Girl, I like I said, I kind of knew your story, but like the more you talk, I realized like we're like the versions. Like you're like literally speaking like my path. You know what I mean? It was all fitness. It was go, go, go. And listen, I got pictures to prove it. Like, I mean, you can only be as tall as you are. I'm 5'9". I got my body naturally to 194 pounds of just shredded, like every striation. I had a surgeon tell me once, and they still tell me because I'm still like this. I just do it so much more naturally now. But I had a surgeon look at me once at a race and go, and he's like staring at me, and he's just like, I see veins on you that I don't even see when I cut people open. He goes, it's just crazy. And, you know, I felt like at that time, I was teaching, you know, I wanted to teach, I wanted to share, I was doing the best I could, but like, I almost felt like a fraud too, because like, I, I looked amazing, right? And now that I actually look back at pictures, I didn't look amazing at all. I actually looked really freaking unhealthy. I just had muscle because I learned to trick my body. And that trickery is, you know, it's marketing. It's really feeding into the I need everything right freaking now mentality. I'm
Yep.
sorry, I'm just going to lay it out there, but you got to stop that shit if health is your priority
Yep.
immediately. Like, and I usually don't say that you have to, but like you have to do that. Somehow you have to do that, right, Rach? Like you're agreeing.
Yeah.
Because Rachel's telling you, like, I can tell you too, like, when you go from like when you're on stage, for instance, these women are what, like 12% body fat, maybe, right?
Are you kidding me? We're like
Eight
8% body fat
for a woman. Okay,
for a
so for
woman.
a woman, like a woman shredded around 11, right? Like, yeah, and a guy's more, right? Like, I think that's how I forgot the
I
exact
walk
number.
around
Anyways,
every day. I walk around every day at 11, 12.
11, 12. And I mean, I can literally see it in your shoulders, your biceps. Like, I just noticed that right away. Like, you're cut, right? So you walk, now imagine 7%. I mean, that's all the water is stripped out of your body. You literally take diuretics before the show to strip the water out. You're playing around with like sugar
Carbs
intake
and
because you've
sugars
been
and
so low and
yep.
stripping carbs and you're so lethargic. You can't even barely pose. You're
Yeah.
almost spasming. And then you go from that after a 6-month training program, okay, of abusing your body, really abusing your body, to then abusing your body even more and binge eating on like the craziest shit ever.
Mm-hmm.
Pizza, burgers, buns. And you know what they do, Rachel? What do they call that? What stage is that? The bulking
Oh, the
stage.
bulking stage. Yeah. No, I remember even you would get off stage and like backstage, they would have like Reese's peanut butter cups and donuts and like all this crap backstage. And I'm like, really? Did we just do this to like go to like a dessert bar?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with this picture?
Yeah, no, I know. So here's the deal, guys. My goal is I'm not trying to bash this industry. Okay. I'm just trying to really paint the picture for you that our belief of health, if you're in this community, that is not health. That is not health, right? Optimal health is thriving at your peak optimal levels, energy for yourself, energy for your family, energy for your career, your energy for activity. You can sleep well, your digestion's on point. If you get some sort of bacteria, your body can naturally fight it off within a matter of a day to 3 days. Like, you're just thriving. You don't have chronic disease. Your body's not all out of whack. Like, that's, I guess what Rachel and I are trying to share with you guys is like, we want to share with you where we were because we've been there and we both thought that was the way. And I know that some of you think that. I know that some of you look at a ripped body and you go, oh, they must be so healthy. But Rachel, you literally took a call. I can find the post that I posted. And I said, you might think I'm the, epitome of health, but I feel like shit.
Yeah.
And that was what got me to be like, this something's not right. Like, I'm not supposed to feel like I'm on crack when I'm doing a workout because of a powder that I took. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it, And man, did I realize, like, I was eating some of the most horrible, most inflammatory foods on top of doing all that damage to my body. Like, when I did nutrition, I was pissed off. You said it so much nicer than me. Like, I was fucking pissed. I was like, you son of, like, I was so mad, Rach, because like you, I put everything into it. I spent thousands of dollars. I invested thousands of hours, like, and I had this vision, and it was completely, it was like my South Star, not my freaking North Star. Like, I was the opposite direction. You know what I mean? That's what I felt like. And it just pissed me off so much. So, okay. So thank you for sharing the backstage view, because I wanted to paint that picture for people. So I hope they understand now that they're, again, you have your goal. If your goal is to have muscle, I just want to share with you, ask yourself why. What is it for? And, are you doing it for an intrinsic reason or an extrinsic reason? Are you doing it because it's in line with how you visualize your life and how you want to feel every day? Or are you doing it because you think that muscles equal health? And if you're doing it for that reason, I hope that this story that we just shared with you sheds some light. That was my goal. You feel good? You have anything else to add on this, or are you good?
No, that's good.
Okay. So now that we got into all of that, you take a nutrition course and you finally start to understand, like, okay, Rachel, you want to be the healthiest girl in the world, and you're basically poisoning yourself every single day. Congratulations, right? So then what happens? What's life look like now? What did you start doing?
Yeah, so like at that point, I had stopped listening to others' nutrition advice. I still had my trainer, and I was doing his workouts.
No more bro science, right?
Yeah, no more bro science.
Okay. Sorry, I had to throw that.
No more listening to that stuff. And I was doing my own nutrition, but I was doing like 5-6 meals a day, whole food. Yeah, I did a bunch of supplements, over the counters, go to the vitamin shop or whatever, go to Walmart, go wherever people buy, their vitamins. But I probably had, 20 different bottles on my counter of vitamins and minerals. And
so we're talking like protein powder, pre-workout, post-workout stuff, BCAAs.
I actually gave all that up when I did my nutrition stuff. I was trying to go whole food. Yeah.
You're talking about this, you said you had a bunch of supplements still.
No, it was like, adding iron and vitamins and magnesium. Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Okay.
But I stopped all protein powders for a long time. Yeah. And then, yeah, I was just doing straight whole food, vitamins and minerals, and like you said, the branch chains. But I wasn't doing any protein powders anymore because, again, I thought they were all junk.
Yep.
I might do them for a couple of months, but once it came to cut season, which your typical cut for a show is 12 weeks, I cut out all protein powders because, again, they're just filled with junk.
Yeah.
And so then I remember, I like to call it when I met the crazy isogenics lady. Because I think sometimes people think, you meet people in network marketing or whatever. So anyway, but this person was sharing the story about weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. And, again, here I was, still national level competitive athlete, ate whole food. Yeah. I didn't have any weight to lose. But one day she talked about food cravings. And I was like, wait, I do still have food cravings. Huh. So I did a traditional 30-day system almost 12 years ago. September, it'll be 12 years.
Wow. Wow.
I'm almost as old as Sean. No, I'm kidding. Close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, after the first 30 days, actually after like the first 10 days, my relationship with food completely changed. I didn't have any of the food cravings, but I also things just tasted completely different. It was so weird. And as great as I felt, I still quit after my first 30 days. I was like, I don't need this stuff. I'm going back to whole food.
Yeah. And then what happened?
And within 3 weeks, I started feeling terrible again. I started having all these digestion issues. I had been on acid reflux medication for 10 plus years. And when I did my first 30-day, I was actually able to get rid of it. But then when I didn't keep up with any of the products, it all came back.
Interesting.
And I was talking to my mom about it, and she hadn't tried it yet. And, she had, my mom's dabbled in nutrition basically her whole life too. And she's like, well, maybe it was in the shakes. And I'm like, what? It's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Maybe it was in the shakes. And I was like, fine, I'll drink 1 shake a day. I can do 1 shake a day. So I went back to 1 shake a day, and all my digestion stuff went away. And, I did that and slowly incorporated more. I went from 6 whole food meals to 4 whole food meals and 2 shakes because it's convenient. Who wants to eat cold food, leftover food, food in plastic, food in baggies? And that's kind of how I did isogenics for years that way.
Yeah.
You know
what's interesting to me, what I hear is it's funny. So you were eating whole foods. We have this, that's such a broad term, right? People say, oh, I eat clean. I'm like, oh, what does that mean? You wash it with soap? I don't know. What does that mean? Or I eat whole. And I'm like, all right, describe that to me, because everybody's definition is so different. But it sounds to me like when you learn nutrition, you still brought the concepts of the 5 or 6 meals because, by the way, that's another big bullshit myth that we were taught, right? It's actually not healthy to eat 5 or 6 meals a day. It's not healthy to keep it doesn't make your metabolism go faster. Oh my God, it's so stupid. I believed that shit. I really believed it. I would carry the cold food like you and gag it down. Go to get that protein. Yeah, go to get the protein. Oh my God.
I once ate cold fish in a movie theater.
That's disgusting. So you took these things, these still ingrained mentalities, and you just basically implemented them into what a new definition of nutrition was based off what you learned. Still realized that you were struggling, still on an acid blocker, which I think you now know is probably one of the most dangerous over-the-counter medications that you could possibly take on a daily basis. If you have acid reflux, I'm sorry, you have a probably dysbiosis, which is a bad influx of bad gut bacteria to good gut bacteria. And it's crazy how easy it is to fix it. And yet we'll pop pills instead, which have all sorts of repercussions and side effects that we won't get into because it's not my lane. And then you do this program, you feel amazing, but yet something still pulls you back. You have this very quick realization. And I just need people to understand that it's maybe not just about eating clean or eating whole foods. And I love that you had this realization without even the ERShred being an existing program at this point in time, because that's really our main focus is pull it all back, really get yourself there so you can feel it. You really know the difference. And then you'll know as you continue on. So you did that with the traditional. And for those of you that aren't aware, our partner company, our fulfillment company is ISSA. And we partner with them because in all my years, and I'm sure Rachel's been doing this for 12, she'll tell you too, there's really not a better overall cleaner line. You know, you can pull something here or there or find this and knick-knack this, but I'm talking overall quality assurance, quality control, third-party tested. It's just all there. And the science, I mean, shit. Double-blind placebo, peer-reviewed, T's are crossed, I's are dotted. I mean, come on. Like, you want to argue? Like, I don't even have time to argue with you anymore. It's just that good. I give it to my 12-year-old, and I'm also now feeding it to my 8-month-old. I don't care what the label says. I'm smart enough to know there's nothing better on the planet. So you can bitch about that all you want if you have a qualm, but I'll tell you, my kid's not eating one refined grain and one refined sugar since the day he popped out of mama. So there's that. And he's thriving. And then you got back into it because you realized that even whole foods, even clean eating, even with nutritional degrees, you realized that something was still missing. What do you now know was missing? What's the missing pieces that why? Because this is going to connect why those people that say, "Oh, I don't need that."
You know, I can't really say it's one missing piece. I think for me,
Bravo.
The easiest way to describe it easily to people is that the majority of foods that people eat, clean or otherwise, are acidic. You know, people don't even realize, like chicken, like all these things we eat are acidic. And so what we constantly do is put all this acid into our bodies and expect it to feel great. And it's not going to work like that. And
Right.
So, you know, all of the products from this company are alkaline. And then they've got, you know, systems in place to help put your body back in pH balance. And it was like, well, duh, no wonder it all works so great. No wonder I can feel so great and have that balance. So yeah, I mean, that's the easiest way to break it down to one piece if you're trying to simplify it.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, that's beautiful. I'm just going to leave it right at that because that's a beautiful summary. You're not getting everything you need from food. Mm-mm. I mean, I don't care how disciplined, how dedicated. I will challenge you. I am one of the most hardcore, disciplined, dedicated dudes on the face of the planet when it comes to the nutritional piece and the fitness piece. It's been like that for many years for me, and I'll challenge you. I promise you, even if you do that, you're going to have things that are off. And I'm telling you from my own experience, and so is Rachel, and combined together, we have over 37 years of experience doing this, pushing our bodies to extreme limits where like most people would be like, I don't even get it. Like, wait, you don't stop when you run 100 miles? Like you train nonstop, Rachel, and then you just went right in. Like, I don't understand. Like, most people won't get it. So I need you to understand, like, that's the level that we push, and we're trying to honestly share with you through life experiences that this isn't just like jumping on the supplement gang or the shake gang or anything to that nature. And now with ERShred, I'm even more excited because we strip it back even more. Because as the years have gone on, I fell into the trap too. You know, the science was there, the ingredients made sense, but then I had to start questioning, well, wait a minute, like there's still a couple things off. Like, I don't get it, right? And then I just started to dive into the beautiful world of functional nutrition. And I don't know if you've dove into that or dive into that, Rach, but it even made it was like the reintroduction of nutrition. Like when I learned nutrition from what I thought I knew, it was like this whole new thing again. And I was like, son of a bitch, it happened again. It happened again. Like it happened again. I was like, this just makes more sense. And you really summed up the most beautiful thing that I want to highlight. It's not a one thing.
Mm-mm.
It's not a one thing. It is a combination of everything put together, working in synergy. I believe is really where the magic lies. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah. So, okay. So you do traditional isogenics, and when, people understand, like, listen, it's literally just like you're drinking these amazing macronutrient balanced shakes. They actually don't taste like ass, like majority on the market. There's not one off ingredient. Every single thing that's in it is in it for a reason. You can back it, you can track it, you know what I mean? But really just put the shit in your body and listen to how your body feels and what it says to you. And that should be your answer, is what I always tell everybody. I was like, I could fight you forever on the science. I was like, but just put in your body, for crying out loud. Like, so even doing that, Rach, what was starting to happen? Did you start to notice things, or what kind of, I guess what I'm asking is, what led you to the ERShred? Because I know now you've told me, like, Jesse, I'm not going back. Like, I'm sticking to this like shredder lifestyle. Like, I've never been leaner in my life, I think is the quote that you told me. I mean, those are pretty powerful things for somebody who's been doing this for almost 2 decades. Like, what was happening, and then what brought you here? My 2 things.
It's funny because, I've, of course, listened to your story and Sean's story and Crystal's story and a lot of the other stories that people have shared. And there wasn't really anything noticeably wrong or off at the time. I just happened to be in the group, as the group transformed. And so I was a fly on the wall watching what you guys were doing. And I was like, these people are crazy, almost kind of like the crazy isogenics thing. I was like, what?
Can I be the crazy isogenics? Can I be the crazy ERShred guy? Can I be that reference for you for the rest of your life?
Be the crazy
yes. Yes.
But I was like, what are these people doing? I'm like, this is so crazy. And like, I watched you guys for a good 5-6 months. And then finally I was like, you know what? It's the same thing I said when I tried isogenics in the beginning, almost 12 years ago. I don't proclaim to know everything. I'll do anything once. I'll do anything once. So I was like, you know what? Beautiful. What the hey? You know what? It's time for another ISSA body challenge. I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it this way this time. And I will tell you what, that first 24 hours, my body was completely different, like blown away. And I was like, okay, that's it. I was like,
okay. So there's a lot here. There's a lot in this, okay. So your body was completely blown away. You had just mentioned something, shit, I think I forgot it, but you had mentioned something about nothing was necessarily off that you knew of.
Right.
That's a key thing, right? That's a key thing. You were healthy. And I love the way that you got into this, is like, you were just kind of like guilty by association because you were there. You were part of the group that we had, that was been around for a while. It kind of like died. And now it's like one of literally the fastest growing, thriving communities, around. It's one of the most, I've never seen a group that's been so active in my entire life. So kudos to all of you, by the way, for bringing yourself, bringing your authentic self every day. Okay. So first 24 hours, I mean, that's crazy. Usually we say day 5, come alive, day 6, day 7. Now what's crazy to me is this: you're a fit person. You're a healthy person. You don't need to necessarily lose weight. You don't need to, you're a national champion. Like, you just don't need this stuff, right? So in 24 hours, like, what was the biggest difference? Like, what did you notice?
The inflammation. And again, I'm not a big person. Like, I'm a small person, but the inflammation, like when I start to carry my weight, the first place I carry it is in my legs and my butt. And like, literally in those first 24 hours, my pants fit totally different. And I was like, what just happened to my body? It's like, I didn't do anything. Like,
yeah. What were you eating like? Even I know you were doing traditional way. Was that still a lot of carbs? Was that still? I mean, what would be like a normal day for you of food
God,
before the shred? Before the
it's
shred.
hard, now because it's so easy to stay this way. I don't even remember the way I was eating a year and a half ago. I mean,
But
um,
were you still balancing like grains
yeah,
or
yeah. I
processed
mean,
carbs or maybe a little too many sugars just because your body could handle it? Like I know I was. I
yeah,
for
I
sure I was
definitely,
still eating bagels and my
yeah,
pasta dinners before my race and I was doing all that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean,
my body was
I
off.
definitely was eating more pasta with my son, at the time because I've got a little guy. I was making family dinners and had the grains and stuff in there.
Yep.
I've never really done dairy, so that wasn't an issue. I mean, being a competitor for so long, you drop dairy. I dropped dairy years ago.
Yeah.
Um, on occasion, like bars and snacks in the car.
Yeah.
Definitely sugar was still because again, I mean, my body looked great, felt great. Nobody knew I was doing it, and so I could still get away with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
yeah, and
Mm.
yeah, it just it's hard to remember because it's so
Yeah.
easy now.
No,
Like
Rach, I
lifestyle
mean,
is
I
so
just, no,
easy.
you did a good, I just got a great visual. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you don't realize, but like you talked about the first 24 hours, your inflammation, you brought up things like sugar, grains. I mean, those two things alone, the amount of inflammation that they cause inside the human body is just crazy. I think Rachel froze on me. Um, but those, it just causes so much inflammation. So for somebody to remove that when you were doing that and you strip, are you back? Okay. Did you hear everything I've been saying?
I lost you for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you froze for 30 seconds. But what I was saying was, you mentioned the inflammation, but yet you also said I was eating sugar, I was eating grains. Those are two of the most inflammatory foods that we could possibly put in our body. So even though you're healthy per se, again, don't let the outside perception of somebody characterize that as health. That is not health, right?
Right.
Health is balanced pH in your blood. Health is not making your immune system activate itself to attack inflammation when it's not needed because your immune system's not supposed to be on at that point in time unless you have some sort of bacteria that its job is to go and fight it. Like
Yep.
your body is, you're not supposed to make the insulin, fight for a place. Like it's supposed to release and do its job and bring it into the belly of your muscle. But here you are still working out, still causing inflammation, tearage, breakage, damage. And yet the foods we were choosing are adding to that damage. That was my biggest aha. And I was like, shit, no wonder why my knees are a little tweaked or my shoulders off. And I chalked it up to running. I chalked it up to being a 189-pound runner or too many years weightlifting. And those are gone now. Like those are gone. And I'm like, damn, like I did nothing different. Nothing.
One of the big things for me was I was still taking, magnesium supplements to help with regularity. And like I haven't taken it in a year and a half since I've been doing the shred.
Wow. Wow. That's funny you brought that up. A lot of people are nervous to talk about this. We are not nervous to talk
You
about
have
this.
to
We
talk
are
about it.
man. Well, listen, I mean, I'm a health professional like that's what I am. Poop is the most important thing, and it's the easiest way that you can literally know if you're pretty healthy or not. And you know what's crazy, Rachel, is even when I was like at my most ripped, right, and what I thought was like my peak physical shape, the way that I was eating, I would spend forever in the bathroom. Like, and it was like sometimes like, I'm just gonna get a little personal. It was like a struggle. That's not normal.
No.
You know what I mean? I'd be like jealous of my dog and how easy he could poop. Like I was like, come on, dude. Like you just like squat down and go. I'm like, what the hell, you know? But I'm glad you brought that up because that's an important thing. And it's really amazing to know that somebody who's been doing it again for so many years, who's so healthy, was struggling with one of the basic things of health. So maybe when you said nothing was wrong, it's funny the things that we kind of brush off, right? Oh, that's just a headache. It's, you know, whatever. Oh, that's my allergies coming back. I get those every year. How many things are we brushing off, thinking that they're normal?
Yeah.
When I'm going to tell you from a functional medicine standpoint and everything that I've learned from all the amazing, brilliant men and women that I've been fortunate enough to learn from, it's not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal for the body to be out of alignment.
Yep.
You know, so that's awesome. Okay, so I'm curious. Like, we're only into 24 hours. Like, what the hell happened with the rest?
Yeah, I just was so like, I was sleeping better. The food cravings, like, yeah, and it was just so easy. It was so easy. Like there weren't leftovers in my fridge. It wasn't, what am I going to eat tonight? It's like, I got a handful of options. This is what I'm going to eat. Every 2 days, I go to the store, I get fresh, meat again and fresh,
Yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
it. And I was like, this is
Yeah.
easy. I'm like, anybody can eat like this.
Yeah, it was so easy. Did you ever feel deprived? Did you ever feel
No,
like nothing?
no,
Did you ever
never.
feel that way in the past when you dieted for shows and stuff?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. In the beginning, I felt deprived, even the relationship with cleansing, before was different than
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And like people look at me when I eat butter and I'm like, you have no idea how delicious this is.
Yeah. I know.
I could like sit there and lick it all day. I'm like, this is great.
It's crazy. It is really crazy. I mean, even, gosh, I think all the years I've studied and I had those myths in my head too, and it's like my body, that is like one of the foods that we're teaching people to consume and to eat. Again, it's not about deprivation. It's not about starvation. I want to challenge people to just think a little differently, like flip the damn script. And just be curious, and just, you said it was scary. You said you thought that we were nuts. Like why did you think that in the beginning?
Because
Besides the fact that I'm like me and I'm sometimes, I got screws loose. Besides that.
no, I think like everybody, we can get stuck with what we're doing, and change or trying something can be scary, or it can be weird. But again, I've always been a proponent, even with my son, I've always told him, try something once. If you don't like it, stop it.
Beautiful.
You've got kids, you don't want to ever get them turned off with food. So it's like, try it. You don't know. But again, like I said in the very beginning, I've always said, I will try anything once. My body knows if it works or it doesn't work. So so it's like, enough is enough. I'm like, I got a challenge coming up. Let's do it. Let's see what it's all about. Let's see if it's everything they say it is. And I was like, woo, this is great.
Yeah. So for you, it's the inflammation went away. The sleeping was drastically improved. And gosh, I'm not going to dive down that rabbit hole, but quality sleep. I was the guy who beat my chest and said, I'll sleep when I die. I'm the guy now who does anything and everything. I'm literally sitting in the dark right now because I don't want to turn on the overhead lights, because I've learned that resets the clock of our melatonin, our circadian rhythm, and I need to be able to go to sleep. The blue light that I'm getting without my glasses, I'm mad at myself for not wearing them, but that's how serious I am now about sleep, about my sleep. So that's awesome. What were some other major things? The ease. I mean, we used to prep and cook and eat cold food, and now we don't have to do that. Any other key highlights for you that came out of it? I mean, I think, listen, when you can alter, guys, I don't think you understand. I need to make this point again. When you can alter an already fit human being, and you can get that kind of results in that amount of time, and they know that they feel healthier than they've ever felt, I mean, I should stop the call right now and leave it there and maybe just say that as the entire call. Literally, it is, Rachel. And it's like, I'm not saying it in like a cocky way. I'm just like, it's just the reality. Like
Yep.
when you can alter that body that's been in training and motion for so long, right? I felt those same things. And it's like, it's kind of mind blowing to me because I thought I was really on point. I really did think I was on point. And I'm like you though, like I'm always open minded. I'm not too good to learn something new. I'm confident, but I want to walk that line of being humble at the same time. There's always somebody that can teach me something.
Yep.
There's always something more, you know. And I think if we have a science mind, you have to be that way because things change every day. You know what I mean? So I've kind of always been that way. And if something makes sense to me, I just go. Like I don't like I'm done processing. Like I just go. And if it's good, it's good. If it's not, okay, great. You know, I'm okay with that too. And I think that's a big lesson for people to take too. So all right, so you do your first 11 days, and after the first shred, I mean, you're still here. So what did you, I mean, obviously this is, I mean, what is your feelings now? I mean, how do you live life now?
It's so easy. And that's really what it is for me. It's the ease of it. But also, you know, again, like I train less. Um, I have more flexibility. I'm leaner. It's like people were like giving me a hard time at the gym. And as an athlete, we can say this because we like,
Yeah, I get it.
they're like, you know, you're so lean. Did you lose weight? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. And yet, like I'm in the gym and I've got, you know, the bicep.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, like I'm not even flexing. Like,
I know. It's crazy. I know. They just like, I don't know if you can see because I'm in the dark, but
yeah,
I know. I get it. It's just,
the veins
it's
are
crazy.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's easy and it simplifies my life. I feel great. And why not? And, you know, people are looking for solutions and it's like, it's baby steps, or you can just take one big giant leap and just go for it now. And it's like, life is now. Why wait? Why do anything else? Just go.
Yeah. Beautiful. You know, you've brought up ease and simplification and ease again. As a busy mom, how has that helped you? How has that changed things for you?
Yeah, I'd probably be living off of processed foods again right now. You know, I don't want to get too into it, but long story short, my life is drastically different in the last couple of years due to an auto accident. And, you know, I spend a lot more time taking care of my son. And I don't have the time to meal prep and think about foods in that way. So all I need is easy stuff. And it's easy. I mean, I don't have to worry about food going bad. Like I can't tell you how many times I've had fruits and vegetables and like all that ancillary stuff in the refrigerator go bad because it just didn't have time to deal with it. I needed something that I could grab and go and like fork and knife and it's just, I mean, it's just, I can't say enough about it. And you know, again, it's like the proof is in the pudding. I look great. I feel great. What more else is there to say? What flavor? I don't know. When am I cleansing next? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get you. Now for you, have you brought foods back? Because I know a lot of people, you know, the 11-day protocol is an elimination, reset, shred protocol. We are going to ask you to eliminate all the inflammatory foods, the grains, the carbohydrates, the sugars, the processed crap. We're going to ask you just to keep it really, really, really basic because we want to take out the poison and only put in the good so you can have what Rachel's speaking of. You can have the balance. You can give your body back the balance that it's literally fucking crying for. Sorry, but it's that important to drop that. You know, it's crying for you to do this. I promise you. And you know, shit, what was my point? What was I saying, Rach?
We're talking about bringing foods back.
Yeah. What were you do? You know, so what are you doing now? Because people always get confused. Like, do I have to do that forever? How do I bring back foods? Like, can I eat certain things along the way? Like, what is like, I know that you're sticking to the basics and stuff like that, but you're still busy. You're still on the go. You're still doing all this stuff. Like, so what does a day in the life look like now food wise, for you?
I do still typically stick to the basics. But I was finding that, I needed more food loaded in the morning, because I was just so ravenous. Like my metabolism just is on fire.
Do you
Like
still work
literally,
out in the morning
you would be
when you
shocked,
can?
but I literally work out like 3 days a week. Like
Okay.
that's it.
But is it in the morning?
Usually,
Okay. Just curious. Go
yeah,
ahead. Keep going.
it's before noon. But my life is, I don't work out as much as people think I do anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't have to because my body's just a machine. I mean, if I was working out the way I would be, I'd really have to eat a lot more food. I mean, I'm still eating 2,000 calories a day,
Yeah.
forcing it in because my body is just a machine. But I found that I've been incorporating like your bowls that you've been doing, adding some of those sprouted
Hmm.
things and the hemp parts
Hmm.
and the nuts back
Hmm.
in. I've added some berries just because I needed some more fuel.
Hmm.
Um, Again, because I'm in the car so much and I live in South Florida where it's hot and everything melts. I have gotten into some of those various, non-processed, as non-processed as we can get with the meat sticks,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
cheese and things like that I can keep in the car. Um, but yeah, I mean, and then when I do go out to eat, I allow myself the flexibility of trying to eat. I still pick a steak or something like that, but I'll have a vegetable or I'll sometimes have a potato to go with it to, look normal to people.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't, I
Yeah.
don't crave those things anymore. My body doesn't
Yeah.
require them. I want the butter. Like, give me the butter across the table. Like, can I just
Yeah.
bring my own butter because I know my butter is better than yours?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of stories of people that actually carry it with them. Um, yeah, I mean, you're really describing. People always say, "Well, Jesse, how do I know I'm fat adapted?" And what is fat adaptation? If you're listening to Rachel's story, she's literally describing to you what it is. Your your body is going to naturally gravitate towards the foods that now make it feel like it's like you're feeding it rocket fuel. I
Mhm.
mean, you're going to know that when you put a food in your body, you're going to know if that food is giving you energy or it's sucking you dry and potentially causing disease. I mean, you're going to freaking know right away. And there's a lot of stories of that too. And if you want to go out and have a pizza and you want to go out and have a donut and whatever, please do that. Don't think that you can't do that. However, I do think that if you follow this protocol, you're going to regret your choice. You're going to regret your choice because you're going to realize that the body is so amazing. It was covering up the pain of what that food did because you forced it to have to adapt to the shit that you were putting in. And that's how amazing your body is. And that's why you shouldn't do it anymore either. You get to choose. You get to live this life. I will tell you, Rachel, I'm glad that that serves you. And I think this is the most beautiful part about the ERShred. I would love for everybody to figure out what their individual blueprint is. And I live every day as the foundation of what people would consider the ERShred protocol. I'm always putting in high quality animal protein. I'm always putting in the healthy fats, the grass fed butter, the MCT oil, the avocado. I do eat I do eat mixed nuts, very high quality, unsalted. I don't want the fake sodium. So I do eat those. I do eat a lot of fermented foods like fermented onions and radishes. I do eat sauerkraut. I also do eat vegetables. Here's the crazy part. When I was eating healthy previously and I was struggling to go to the bathroom and stuff, I realized that I had gut issues that I didn't know I had because I just didn't realize it. Like I was so in shape from like
Yep.
what I thought that I didn't realize that my poop issues were my gut issues. And when I got myself to baseline and I stripped it all away and I myself reintroduced foods again, which I've done like literally so many times now in the past, like it's crazy that it didn't even dawn on me. Like, and I introduced those back at first, it was crazy because I pulled all this fiber out and then I started to bring it back in. And I don't want people to think that like a couple of gurgles or a little bit of a blow, like if you're trying a vegetable, for instance, and it's been like 4 shreds that you've not put any fiber and you've not put that in there, you might feel a little off. That's not necessarily a culprit, if you will, right? You need to give it time to really kind of, I would say a good 4 or 5 days to really kind of get a feel. And if it's still causing massive bloat and issues, okay, yeah, that's not your food, okay? But listen, I eat, a massive amount of protein and butter and all those things I told you every night. I eat 3 pasture-raised eggs every single night with dinner. It doesn't matter what I'm having. And I also have vegetables. And it's things like broccoli or broccoli sprouts and asparagus. And I need people to know that those are carbohydrates. Those are carbohydrates. They are not the same as processed carbohydrates or grains or flour or something to that nature. So it is okay later on if they serve you to bring those back in. One by one, slowly. The most important part of an elimination protocol is actually not the elimination protocol. It's when you bring stuff back in. You want to go really slow. I know everybody's in a rush.
Think about it. Think about it when you have a newborn baby and the doctor tells you as you introduce foods to your newborn, you're only supposed to introduce a new food to them every 4 or 5 days because they're waiting to see how the baby reacts, make sure the baby doesn't have an allergic reaction. Same thing when you're reintroducing your foods after the shred.
Perfect. I didn't do that with Grayson necessarily, but whatever.
But that's what the doctors say,
Yeah, well, I made sure that dude had a really, really healthy gut microbiome. He got lots of lactobacillus, and he has 2 dogs that licked his face, and people don't realize how much that builds. And no grains, no sugars, all clean. I mean, this dude was eating literally pouches of regenerative farmed grass-fed beef with olive oil or avocado oil and thyme and spices. And now he's literally eating like a champ. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. So, all right, Rach, listen, what else? Is there anything else on your heart? Because I'm over the hour and I apologize. But this is just too good. I can really talk to you forever. Is there anything else on your heart that you feel could bring value to somebody who's going through the shred or struggling or anything at all, anything that comes to mind?
Again, it's like I look back to the beginning of my journey all the time. And every time I coach a client, I remind them, I didn't get here overnight. I've learned, I've trialed, I've erred, I've done this. It's a process, and be gentle with yourself and just trust your coach.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, the people in this community, and just do it and be gentle with yourself. And we all trip and fall. Babies trip and fall is part of learning to walk. Same thing as you change your nutrition lifestyle, but go for it because you won't regret it. I sat there and watched you guys for 4 or 5 months before I finally jumped in, and now there's no going back. So
I love that. I have one last thing because you just triggered something for me. I see a lot, sometimes somebody goes through 11 days. Maybe they didn't get the weight loss they were looking for, the inches that they lost. They didn't magically heal themselves after 11 days. I'm playing my little violin for a second. They didn't magically heal themselves. I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of you. I just need you to really wake up and have common sense. Like, what would you say to those people? You just kind of summed it up as like, give yourself the freedom. What do people not realize, Rachel, from what you know now about nutrition and stuff, even if those outside things aren't presenting yet, what do people not realize is happening when you choose to do something like this on the inside?
What? Sorry.
Like, the people that struggle, like they go through 11 days, they didn't hit the number of weight that they wanted. They didn't like whatever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
What are they not? What are they not realizing is happening on the inside? If they, and then at the end, if they don't, hit the weight, or oh, it didn't work for me, and then they
Yeah.
quit. Like, what are they not realizing? Like, I want
Yeah.
them to understand, like,
Again,
why should they keep going?
if you're 30 or 40 years old, I mean, it took, or 50 or whatever age you are, it took years to get to the damage that you've done to your body. And it's not going to undo itself in 11 days. And again, it's like, I don't even own a scale. People are like, what do you weigh? I'm like, I don't know. Do you go up to the people that you see on the side of the street and ask them what they weigh? Nobody cares what you weigh. Like, throw the scale out. Like, nobody cares, like, so like, don't let the scale be your marker. Don't let, a tape measure be your marker. I mean, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun to know how much body fat I am every once in a while, but like, don't let that be your guide. Like, let how you feel. Like I said, in that first 24 hours, I knew I felt great. And I was like, whoa, I was like, what just happened here?
Yes.
Know that those little incremental changes, and maybe it's something small. Maybe you slept an hour longer. Maybe you slept the whole night through. Like, be gentle with yourself. Take careful inventory of how things are changing, and be patient, because you're trying to, you're working a process that's going to take time to undo the damage that you've done. But, you don't have a little microscope. Do you want a little scope and like scope down and see what's going on in your body? Like, you can't do that, but know that it's working, because I know it worked with me. I mean,
yeah, that is, wow. That is absolutely, seriously, that's amazing advice. And I really hope people do that. And the last thing I'm going to leave with, and I'm going to start asking everybody, is when I say living the shredder life, what does that mean for Rachel?
Man, you're like winging them at me here at 9:30 at night. Yeah, it's just choosing to not put the bad stuff in. Keep it simple. Again, meat, butter, my shakes. I don't have to make it complicated. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's ease. The shredder lifestyle is just ease. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all I can explain.
Well, you've probably said that, I don't know,
1,000 times.
13 different times now. So I hope people pick up on what you're putting down. After 17 years, it's the easiest thing, most sustainable thing, and the best that your body has ever felt, looked, health-wise. And you've been through some trials and tribulations. And I mean, that for me is, I can't thank you for validating it. Knowing you and knowing your background, and I hope people got to really get a picture of everything that you've done. And I know we've tried to cram that all in, and there's so much more that we could really talk about, but I hope people understand that bigger picture. And I can't thank you enough. Your stamp of approval on this really means the world to me, because it's my mission for people to realize that you don't have to wait until it's too late. In fact, with all the research and the science coming out now on Alzheimer's and how to protect our brain and how to protect our heart, we're talking you can counter affect those things up to 20 to 30 years prior to when you actually start to get the symptom. So if you think I'm only 20 and it doesn't matter, and I can go drink, or whatever your thing is that you're playing, I hope that our experience and our years of putting ourselves through some of these things and sharing with you, I hope it can just shed a little bit of light for you. That's really our main goal. So I can't thank you enough, Rachel. It truly does mean the world to me. And I appreciate your time, because I know you're a super, super busy person. So I really, really thank you for this.
Well, thank you, Jesse. And thank you, Shredder Nation. Man, this is awesome.
Yeah, I love it. And will you ever leave? Is this it?
Yeah.
Are you just, this is it?
I'm a ride or die.
I'll ride or die. Awesome. All right, guys, listen, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for sticking with us. I apologize that we went over, but this was just too good not to keep sharing. Please make sure that you're here every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Another story, more research, more science, more real knowledge for you. Every Wednesday, we have our Shred Your Testimonial call. We're taking a little break for the summer, but those calls are awesome. And then every Thursday night at 8 p.m., we have our Share the Shred opportunity where we teach people who have just lit themselves up from the inside out, and now you can't shut your mouth and you need other people to know. We share with you how to do that, how to bring them into the community, where to find all the stuff, and help you with that. So we hope you guys have an amazing night. Rachel, thanks once again. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.